our bumper double rankings issue, preschool rankings issue 2022-23.
Which also includes our Education World budget private school rankings.
Yes, and budget private schools are something very unique and somewhat unknown quantity in India, but they play a very, very important role in Indian education.
Yes.
And they don't receive any recognition or any accolades or any appreciation for the great role that
the first budget private school rankings was introduced by Education World way back in 2015. And every year since 2015, we've been ranking India's unique budget private schools. We'll come back to our main highlights, these two rankings, a bit later. Dilip, what should we tell our readers? What else we've got in this information-packed issue?
So what do you like about, what do you think are the highlights of this?
I think our editorials are very good this month. I think our first editorial on the 103rd Amendment, the Supreme Court upholding the 103rd Amendment, which allows 10% extra quota for the economically weaker sections within the general category. I think it's like a game-changing verdict because they themselves have
they've reached the ceiling, 50% ceiling
set by themselves.
Yes, and now if you keep on having reservations, I mean, it's going to hit the quality of your institution and your government. Yes. And then also another very interesting editorial on it's a harsh country for little children. Our children in this country are very badly treated, and really nobody's speaking up for them except Education World.
Yes.
And I think it's very important that everybody should read these editorials.
Also, I think very interesting and informative education news this time, Dilip. The one, of course, Delhi education news again talks about this,
additional quota.
But I think we got a very interesting education news from Maharashtra, where we're talking about the performance grading index released by the Union Education Ministry recently, where Maharashtra has done very well. Though this has cheered the government, the academics are not very cheerful about it because they think that, Maharashtra's school education system, especially its government school education system, needs a lot of help and reform.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. I think that euphoria is a bit misplaced. I think that's what we've written.
Yes.
And of course in Karnataka also we've written about the neglect of education.
Yes.
Then we have education news from West Bengal, all across the country. Education briefs, it gives you a total roundup of what's happening on the education scene countrywide.
Yes, education notes, education briefs, a very good roundup of what's happening in the education sector from across the states and union territories.
Very interesting article also by Dr. Krishna Kumar, where he talks about the national curriculum framework, which has just been
released for the foundational stage,
which was released last month.
Yes, on October 20th.
And he warns, it's very important that in early childhood education, please don't push children into literacy too early. And he says the ghost of early literacy has been haunting us for the last 50 years.
Yes.
We should perhaps exorcise that ghost, that's what he says.
Yes.
Then of course we have our Education World India Preschool Rankings, which is something unique. We were the first people, I think we should tell our readers, we were the first people to appreciate the importance of early childhood education and care. Way back in
2010,
yes.
The first early childhood education international conference was held in Mumbai, organized by Education World way back in 2010. And since 2010, we've been every year annually ranking India's best preschools.
Rating and ranking them on several parameters.
We began with the 6 metros and then slowly it's expanded. And this year, the Education World India Preschool Rankings ranks over 600 preschools in 17 cities countrywide. And we do this across 10 parameters, including safety and hygiene, curriculum and pedagogy, competence of teachers, special needs education, infrastructure.
It's totally unprecedented, and but it's quite surprising. Despite all that, we don't get very much feedback from our readers.
Yes,
this is something unique. Nobody in the whole world has ever paid so much attention to early childhood education as we do, and the way we rank them on several parameters and so on.
And to tell you a little bit about the methodology, the survey was conducted by our partner, the well-known market research firm, Center for Forecasting and Research. They've interviewed over 7,500 parents, preschool educators, teachers in 17 cities countrywide.
Yes,
so it's an exhaustive survey done across the country.
And they have ranked and rated the school. It's not a subjective ranking done by us. I think we should tell our readers.
Yes.
It's a totally objective. These are sample respondents database of experts who have evaluated each school in each city, and it's really something very valuable for young parents.
Yes, and I think it's a very unique field-based survey methodology which we have adopted, and it's the only one of its kind for preschools and pre-primaries.
Well, all our rankings are done on field surveys, and not by a cozy little jury of 5 or 6 people giving marks to schools. So this is what distinguishes EducationWorld from all the other magazines.
So it's exhaustive, 17 cities, and we've not compared apples with oranges. So proprietary, i.e. owned schools are ranked separately, and franchised preschools are ranked separately.
In each city?
Yes, in
17 cities.
In 17 cities. So there's a wealth of information, wealth of tables. I highly recommend parents of young children as well as preschool managements themselves to study these tables carefully and evaluate their relative strengths and weaknesses and accordingly improve.
Absolutely, yes. Indeed, I think it's very valuable indeed.
Yeah.
We should thank our partner C4 also, and of course our own staff who sat through these very laborious tables, which are like, I've never seen them anywhere in the world, and I've traveled quite a bit.
Yes, painstakingly compiled league tables.
Ditto with the Education India Budget Private School Rankings. Budget private schools, I think we should tell our readers, are something quite unique. They are affordable schools which are mainly for the lower middle class and working class households who want to avoid government schools where the standards of education are very poor, infrastructure is very poor. So for those who can afford to run away from government schools, budget schools are the option.
Yes.
Now, there are estimated 400,000 budget private schools which never find any mention in the mainstream media. And there are 60 million children, that's more than the total population of the United Kingdom, in these schools. And to rank them and to evaluate them is a very, very arduous and painstaking exercise. Again, done by us with the same field survey methodology across India.
Yes, across India, over 3,000 sample respondents database has been interviewed for this EW India Budget Private School Rankings.
6,000.
And we have city, state, national tables, very exhaustive across 10 parameters. We highly recommend that this table also for comprehensive information, for reading, for data.
Yeah, I think we should also tell our readers that we've divided budget private schools into the Super 30 and the others. The Super 30 are the elite budget private schools. They're affordable, but they are perhaps more well known than the others.
Yes.
But this time we've ranked 650 others also.
Yes.
It's something.
Yeah. It's a very exhaustive.
I don't know how we do it, but somehow we manage to stumble through and do it.
Yeah. So two, I think, very in-depth, rankings, league tables. Highly recommend our readers to read them. And Dilip, I think apart from Dr. Krishna Kumar's essay, our second special essay also is very interesting. It's written by Mr. Vijay Shukla, who talks about how schools can, manage their finances better in these hard times and better.
Especially private schools and budget private schools mainly, who are going through a hard time because a lot of children dropped out during the pandemic, and teachers' salaries and parents weren't paying salaries. So they're going through a hard time. And Vijay Shukla is a graduate of XLRI and IIT Banaras, and he runs the advisory firm.
He's giving some excellent suggestions. We recommend you read them. And of course, our favorite book reviews section.
Yes,
very interesting. Yes, latest book. And another book published by the Malala Fund, which talks about such inspiring stories of young girl children across the world,
who insist on getting an education.
On getting their right to education. These are girl children deprived of education, caught in civil war,
civil wars,
yes,
international wars. Nevertheless, they go ahead with their education.
Yes.
In fact, it's a novel lesson to some of our spoiled middle class children who don't want to go to school, and who think school is a very bad place. And these are girls who are ready to brave bombs, rockets, gunfire, etc., to get to school and get an education.
Yes.
Something very inspiring. And of course, then we have some very interesting postscripts, one of which is about Rishi Sunak being appointed Prime Minister in the UK. I, as a student myself, I was very active in British politics, but I never thought an Indian would ever stand a chance in British politics, and therefore I came to India and I found out it's even more difficult. And so,
if you're not in a dynast.
Yeah, not a dynast, indeed, yes. And then we talked also on this page about, badly staffed municipal corporations.
Yeah.
The main problem is everybody tells them to do better, but they don't have the competence because they hire the wrong people, all square pegs in a round hole. So they can't do the job. And then internal story about the media or second fiddle editors.
Yes.
I think all worth well reading.
Yes.
A very interesting issue, I think.
Yes, we highly recommend that.
Of course, it's subjective. We think it's wonderful now.
But we'd love to hear your feedback and
Exactly.
your comments. We are always open to constructive criticism and feedback. Continuous improvement is our mantra.
Yes.
And before we go, what we've done in ParentsWorld this time, of course, it's the end of the year issue. In ParentsWorld, we've written a very upbeat story on how families, children can start 2023 positively and purposefully.
Yes, get off to a good start in the new year.
Yes.
Because the whole economy is upbeat. Everybody's feeling better after the pandemic. So this is the time for everybody to get up and go. Okay, so thank you very much.
Wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Yes, indeed.